Hey, welcome to yoga. I got a thing to sit on, so I always sit on a thing. And then today we are probably going to use a strap or some flexible fabric device like thing, extra pair of leggings, whatever the hell you have around the house. There's two AWF folks in here. You guys will get this a little bit more. So I have one of the, oh, you got it, yeah. What is it? Something is fuck. I can't read. Oh, I want to see it. What is it? Grace wants to. Oh my god, so that's the shirt. So I go to ballet on Saturday and I walk into class and I've been not wearing that shirt even though I really want to wear it to ballet because I don't really want to offend people or make them mad especially like for no reason about something as silly as me wearing a shirt. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just see how it goes and maybe put another shirt on and everybody actually thought it was really cute wearing the shirt that says graceful as fuck in ballet class. And this one woman that I always thought she was a little bit more conservative, probably is, than me. She walks by me at one point and she's giving me this look of utter disgust. Like, oh God, what is up? I felt so bad. I was so self-conscious and a little bit upset and hurt that I had, if I had upset this woman. And about 15 minutes later, we're doing some different exercises. We're moving across the floor together and we're waiting. She turns to me and she says, I always love the outfits that you wear to ballet and your shirt made me laugh so hard after I read it. And I was like, oh, of course, because you know what look I give when I'm reading something is this, because I can't see anything. And it's so funny, the stories that we will tell ourselves about things that further clarification and or the inserting of time can make so much of a difference with. Really, there's so many things that we can tell ourselves about the way that the world is, and we are not usually correct about that, especially when we jump to conclusions or come from a place of worry and frustration or what have you. Insert time, seek clarification, don't beat ourselves up, all things that we work on throughout this practice. Yeah, okay. And then wear the shirt that says graceful as fuck because it's fun as hell and other people might enjoy it too. So we'll start with our face brushing. Oh, hold on just a second. Cool, I grabbed some new folks. Oh, hi. Hey. Hey, Delamoon. I'm gonna pop a link into the chat for you guys because I have been having a couple of tech issues and I usually play the music through my own system, but today I'm gonna have you folks play it on your own if you have your own item or anything that you can use. And then yeah, so we're just about to get started. I did mention if you have a strap, a flexible fabric, something, Pilates bands, a belt, a scarf, tie. Yeah, I think that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody, but if you have any questions about anything, if anything pops up, just go ahead and unmute yourself because I like to make it a cohesive group thing. Okay. So with your index finger and your thumb together, and by the way, you can start the playlist anytime. You take the squishy spot at the bottom of your thumb, bring that to the center of your forehead, and then brush outwards towards your temples a few times. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. And your temples down to your chin, on your jawline. And from the sides of your nose down to your chin, on your laugh lines. And moving your fingertips underneath and behind your ears, feeling for the soft spots back there. Lifting upwards from the bony spots so your spine is just a little longer, a little bit taller. And then resting your hands down somewhere in your lap and taking a few deep breaths. everything feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. Starting to settle into your body. Ask yourself if there's anything that you're going to want to pay special attention to or things that you'll want to work on today, but also be wary of the kinds of stories we tell ourselves that don't help. Can it be, I just want to be conscious of my hamstrings today, not just saying, oh, I have really tight awful hamstrings today. Just watching the narrative. Big breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. And again like that. For 3, hold. If you have your strap around, just make sure it's nearby. Go get your toy. And then bring your knees into your chest. Just give yourself a little hug and a rock around. From here, take your right ankle onto your left knee. You can either leave your left foot down or take your right arm in between your legs. Hold your left leg somewhere where you like to hold it. I like to hold my shin, but if that feels in any way tense around your knee, don't hold your shin, just hold your thigh. Take a couple of deep breaths. Pretty deep hip stretch this early in the practice. Just be kind to yourself about how that unfolds. One more breath. Releasing your left foot, unwinding your right leg, and taking the left ankle up on top of the right knee. So you can take the left arm in between the legs, you can leave the foot on the floor. Keep letting your hips be heavy. Taking some long, deep breaths. One more deep inhale. Find something to soften as you exhale. And start to relax your legs, unwind them. You're going to take your strap or whatever you're using like a strap. And if you don't have something and you just want to hold on behind your knee, that's going to be absolutely fine. You don't need to take a strap and put it around the bottom of your foot. You want to bend into your knee and pull it outwards towards your armpit. So pulling it into your chest, you're not going to get quite as far. Try to pull it out towards your armpit. And if you like to send the right leg out or the other leg out, you can. I'm not straightening my leg. I've got it pretty bent. I'm like, can you see in the shadows? I think you can see. My leg is pretty bent, so it's just a little bit more relaxed. And then just take 2 more exhales. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and take both hands onto your strap, or you can just keep holding it behind your thigh, and then you're going to roll over onto the side of the leg you're not holding, and then bend your knees. Bend your knee, and you're going to pull the knee up towards your armpit. And you can rest your head down just a moment. Okay. that knee down towards your armpit. You want to have your thigh bone rolling down to the bottom of your hip socket. Okay. And as that's going on, you're going to feel like you have just a little bit more space around your waist right here. So what happens is, we have the leg that kind of lifts up and the hips get a little unbalanced. You want to roll that thigh bone down towards the bottom of your hip. One more exhale. And you're going to release your foot off of your leg. And then you're going to go ahead and roll back to your back, and then you can take your strap around your foot or just holding on to the back of your leg, depending on what you got and what feels better to you. If you don't like the strap, don't use the strap. I find it useful when we're doing that roll over to the side. So you're going to let your leg bend. You're going to start pulling your knee down towards your armpit. It just feels good to me to let the elbows go out to the side, but you can turn them anyway. Let out one more exhale. And then you're going to keep holding on to the leg, either with the strap or otherwise roll over onto the other side, and then this hip, it'll start to reach up towards your armpit. You're just going to let the leg bend, and then relax that thigh bone down. Thinking of the thigh bone moving down to the bottom of the hip socket or down towards the bottom foot. It's up to you how much you feel like pulling that leg in or how much is available to you. Take one more exhale. Roll back to your back. Take the strap off of your foot. Go ahead and set your feet down. Stretch your legs and your arms out long. Wiggling out, maybe a little bit longer on one side and the other, one side and the other, and then take a really full breath in. Relax as you exhale, and then bring your knees into your chest, rock yourself or roll yourself over, coming up to a seat and then coming onto your hands and knees. And make sure I have enough space between me and my wall. You may want to make sure you have enough space between you and the wall, but I shouldn't get too loud. You can always move. We're going to do a little bit of core and glute work. It's going to feel real good. I'm already sore from doing this all week. Stretch your right leg back. And on your exhale, you're going to tuck that knee up towards the outside of your arm. And then as you inhale, reach that leg back behind you. On your exhale, tuck that knee up towards the outside of your arm. And we'll do 3 more. Nice long breaths. Inhale, reach it back, and exhale, tuck it up to the outside. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, tuck it up. And inhale, reach it back. Exhale, tuck it up there. And then try to bring your foot down outside of your hands. When you get it down there, just push down into your foot, lift your heart up and forward, and then you'll notice you might have your thigh bone kind of coming up to the front of your hip socket. Try to pull that thigh bone back to the back of your hip socket. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then start to pull your right leg back, setting your knee down. Take your left leg back with a big breath in. As you exhale, pull your knee up towards your outer arm. As you inhale, send that left leg back. As you exhale, tuck that knee up by your outer arm. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, pull it. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, Now this time, as you pull the knee up towards your outer arm, try to bring the foot up a little bit more. You might swing it, you might grab it, scooch it. And then you can come up onto your fingertips, lift your chest, press your foot down, feel a little bit of that thigh bone rolling back. Just 2 more breaths. Start to bring your left leg back next to your right leg, and we're going to lower all the way down onto belly. When you get down here, take your right arm, stretch it out to your right side, keep your left hand under your shoulder, look to the left, and then roll your left leg back, resting your head, stretching out through the front of your right shoulder. Just take 2 deep breaths. And then roll over onto your belly, switching sides. Drawing the right arm in, sending the left arm out, look to the right, and roll your right leg back. One more big breath in. Find something to soften when you breathe out. And then roll over to your belly, tuck your hands in by your low ribs, come up little cobra pose. Take a moment to try to soften around your shoulders, and then sip in 1 more breath. As you exhale, soften down, press your hips up, push your heart up off the floor, and then come back into your table pose. Hands under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. So we're going to do another one of the core and the glute things. You're going to stretch your right leg back. And as you exhale, you're going to bring that leg out to your side. And then inhale, stretch it back. It doesn't have to be high. It's easier if it's lower. Exhale, bring it out to the side. If you want to make it really spicy, you can reach your left arm forward as you breathe in, and then bring the arms out to their, or the limbs out to the sides as you exhale. And you might be very wobbly. Inhale to the center. Exhale out to the sides. Inhale to the center. Exhale out to the sides. Try to do 2 more. With or without the arm. Inhale. This time when you get the leg out to the side, go ahead and set it down. And then walk your hands back in. Go ahead and lift yourself up. Take your arms out to the sides. I'm going to face you. I'm going to take the arms back. One thing I say not to do where you let the hands go back. This time it's just going to give you a little bit of extra space. You got to press your hips forward. Maybe feel more open there. 1 more breath in. Then go ahead and bring your hands down, and you can hang out here, you can bend into your elbows, you might come down to your elbows, just seeing how that feels to you. Nice. One more breath out. Bring the back up to your hands. Or slide the right leg all the way back, and then just rock back and forth on your toes a couple of times to work those bones out and get your calf stretched. And then bringing your right knee back down, and then all of that awesome. This is the last weird thumb thing I have, I think, for a while. Reach your leg back as you inhale, and then as you exhale, take it out to the left side. As you inhale, stretch it back, and as you exhale, take it out to the left side. And then we have a couple more. If you want to add the arm in, you inhale in the center, and you exhale, bring it out wide. Inhale to the center. Exhale, take it out. 3 more. You can always skip a couple. Falling over is fine. You're almost on the ground anyway. Once more, take that leg out to the side. Woo! Set the foot down. I'm trying not to run into my altar because I keep knocking it down. And then take yourself up. So you're standing on your knee. Take your arms up. I want to feel the hips going forward a little bit. Taking that arms out here so I can really try to expand that chest space. Gorgeous. And 1 more big breath in. And then go ahead and take your hands down. You might bend your elbows. You might come down to your elbows. But try to let your tailbone roll up. One more breath out. And come back up to your hands. Take your left leg all the way back behind you again. Just toes on the floor, rocking back and forth, working out your foot bones and your calf. And then taking your knees back down, walk your hands a hand print further forward, lower all the way down onto your belly. Wiggle your legs back behind you. And then you're going to come up into like a half a cobra pose, like a little baby cobra pose. Just lift it a little bit. And then stretch your right leg back so that it lifts up off the ground. And as you exhale, lower it down. And then stretch your left leg back, feel the breath, and try not to lift your chest up too much. Just to lower the leg. And inhale, right leg up. And lower, and inhale, left leg up. And notice the tendency of your shoulders to creep forward. Maybe you can lift your hands up off the ground and lift the right leg. And lower, lift the left leg, and lower, and maybe you got one more time on each side. And then go ahead and lower everything down, rest your cheek or your chin. Just to give yourself a little pause before you come up to one more cobra pose. Maybe a little bit bigger this time, reach those legs back. On your exhale, lower. Push your butt up off the floor. Push your heart up off the floor. Spread your fingers out. Press back into downward dog. Walk through your heels and wiggle your hips around. Just making this one feel good to you. Maybe a little wiggle around in the neck and the head. One more breath in. One more breath out. And looking forward, bring your feet to your hands to your feet. Find a fold. Relax your spine, relax your hamstrings. Bring your fingertips to your shins. Lift your heart up, send your tailbone back, nice and long through the spine and the hamstrings. As you exhale, fold down and then stand all the way up. Lift your arms up. And bring your hands down into your heart. Take your legs out pretty wide here. You're going to turn all of your toes over towards the right side. Bend into your right leg, find warrior two. And then turn your palms to face forward. Go ahead and do that thing I say usually not to do, where you bring your arms back and you feel your chest stretching out pretty wide. And then try to keep your chest wide. It'll change because you're going to change the arms, but you're just going to turn the palms down and line up those arms with your shoulders again. And then reach forward. As you reach forward, pause, feeling this thigh bone pull to the bottom of the hips down towards your back foot. And then bring your elbow down and take this arm up. Try to find that open space in your chest again, so you're reaching from your heart into both of your hands. One more exhale. Then start to lift yourself up. Go ahead and straighten this leg. Take your arms out when I feel your chest opening up. If you touch your right arm to your right leg, it's going to make this a little bit easier. You can always just go back to having your elbow on the leg. Bend into your right leg. Pull your thigh bone back. Reach forward. And then you're going to take this arm down on the inside of your leg. You can touch or not touch. It's up to you. And try to keep the feet pressing. The back leg active too. The chest from collapsing. One more exhale. And then come on up. You're going to bend into this leg one more time. But this time, you're going to bring your opposite arm down. I like to pivot up onto the back toes. You can keep this hand on this thigh. Your hip is going to try to get up into your armpit. Just try to move it away from your armpit as much as you can. Then you're going to walk it all the way around to the left. So you come into that wide-legged forward fold where all of your toes face out to the left. And then you can just let your body relax in. Let this one feel good for you. One more exhale. little bend in the knees and start to stand yourself up. And you're going to shift the legs over towards the left this time. And then bend deep into your left leg. Make sure that the knee tracks over that second toe. Take your arms out from your shoulders and then turn your palms to face forward. Let the arms come back behind your shoulders. See what kind of open space and stretch you can get in your chest. So it's going to be different. It's not going to stay exactly the same, but see how that shifts as you move your arms back to your sides and the palms face back down again. And then you're going to reach out over that leg. Do it slowly. Make a little pause, that time to analyze what's going on. You feel that thigh bone underneath, and then bring the elbow down and this arm up. Drive both feet down. Make sure that you're standing with as much intensity and intention as you can. Reach from the heart into both of your hands. Breathe in. Stay there as you breathe out. Exhale. Lift yourself up. And then you're going to bend back into the leg. I want to give a little break. So then you're going to come forward, reaching your arms in opposite directions. I feel like I've seen your square there and I did not read it at first. So hey, I'm glad you're here. You can have the elbow down, remember, but maybe you're reaching into both the arms. Exhale. And then the wrist up again. Okay. Ooh. And then bend into your knee. This time you're going to take the opposite arm down. You can leave your left hand at your thigh. Pivot up onto the back toes if your foot is okay with that. And then notice the tendency of your hip to reach up to your armpit. Pull that hip down and away from your armpit. Drive both feet down. One more exhale. And then you're going to turn all 10 toes over towards the right. Bring your hands over to the right. Come right in between those wide legs. And then relax your head down. Try to soften the space behind your neck. Maybe feeling the backs of your ears relax a little bit more. One more breath out. And start to gently bring yourself back up to standing. Go ahead and bring your feet towards each other. And then as you're looking out towards the front of your space, you're going to want to take this out towards like the corner of your mat space, or if you don't like practice with mat, you just want to imagine that you have about that kind of space available to you. Just take one foot forward and the other foot back. And doing the other side, I guess it's facing the opposite way. One thing that your knee is going to want to do is going to come inwards and follow your body. So just try to keep it facing forward. You're going to take opposite hand down. Now I have the back heel down now. You need to come on the back toes. You kind of think it's going to be a little easier with the back heel down. You can stay here, or you can walk that one hand out to the corner of your mat. If it feels okay to you, take both hands out towards the corner of your mat, and then notice the tendency of your knee to want to follow you. You want to pull that hip back, yeah. If you got a lot of space and you want to crawl those hands out, just make sure that the weight didn't move into your hands. You want to keep the weight on your feet. Like I can lift my hands up at any point. One more exhale. And walk yourself back to your legs. Go ahead and lift yourself up. And then you're just going to take the back leg up and switch sides. And we'll show from the back here. I'm assuming you can see everything's black. But there's going to be this tendency for the hip to go out and the knee to come in, so just watch that. You can take opposite hand down and stay there. You can take that hand out towards the corner. You could take both hands out towards the corner. Keep using both feet to press down. Keep trying to pull your hip back away from your armpit, especially since your armpit's moving further away from your hip as well. One more exhale. And come back up towards the center. Start to lift yourself up and bring both feet in. Okay. I did say earlier you could use a strap. If you want to use a strap for the standing balance, it's going to be very similar to what we did while we were laying on our side before. So the idea is that maybe you do, maybe you don't have a straight leg. You could have a straighter leg here, especially if you're using the strap. We're going to hold everything out to the side. So don't have to have a straight leg. That's not going to be our big focus. Our big focus is going to be like, where is my bum? Is my bum trying to hike up in towards my hip? Or am I finding that length on both sides? Because once the hips go here, now I don't know where I am in space, right? So pick a leg. You're gonna stand on the other one with lots of intensity. If you don't wanna hold onto the strap, you hold onto your leg or you hold onto your toes and you don't worry about the leg getting straight. Go straight legs. I think I did different things before. Ooh. So yep, standing up. Good. And then once you get standing, you take that leg out to the side. Open your arms. See how my leg wants to lift up? Not today, leg. Hip bone dropping down, and then my chest lifts up. And it's a lot, so you can come on out after you feel like you have that moment, and you can come back in when you feel like you have that. So like I may not straight. So I get my leg up higher, my hip wants to follow. I want to drop my hip down. Now I feel more stable. But if you fall back all the way, then everything's, yeah, awesome job. Good. Ooh. Dance. Okay, that's great. Try the other side. Nice kid. One thing that when you get into it, like it's scary and it's strong. And it feels like it's a little outside of maybe where like our wheelhouse is. So if you're like, I don't know, man, your body's gonna be like, me either. But if you go into it with like, yeah, probably this is fine, your body will be like, I don't know, sure, maybe. Maybe it won't be, but I mean, you're more likely to have the body like agree with you when you say it. Well, you're gonna have the body agree with you no matter whatever you try to tell it, right? Yeah, nice. Good. You can try like the 2 times or the no times. Oh, I was totally stuck in my hip there. Hold on. I'm giving myself get up. There we go. Got that hip down. Okay. And then I did like resistance booty day today. It's been an experience. Okay. After we got the big crazy standing balance out, let's just get a good solid tree pose in so things are a little bit more in that like balance, like familiar territory, but the same kind of principles apply. So you want to have that standing leg driving down. We're opening up, we're lifting and spreading the chest out, trying not to let the hip hike up. Maybe your branch is open, maybe there's a place you'd rather have your branches. One more exhale. And then set your foot down, just switch to the other side. Notice the tendency to fall here, and now my hip and my armpit are closer together. I want lots of space between both hips and both armpits. Ooh. Maybe one more breath. And go ahead and set both feet down. Okay. Take your right foot forward towards the front of your space and then bring your left foot back like a lot. So I'm up on my toes. I'm gonna take my arms up. I wanna reach through the back leg. Your arms can even be up in like a bent elbow, open space that might be more comfortable to you. First think about that back leg. Then notice if the hip wants to glide to the side and then try to pull it back. Just focusing on the legs. Slightly counterintuitive with the arms lifted, but try for those legs. One more big breath in. Then go ahead and bring the hands down, step both feet forward and do a forward fold. You can take many steps. Feet can be maybe a little bit wider than hip width if that feels good. Maybe holding onto your shins if that feels better. Then you're gonna bring your fingertips to your shins, lift your chest up, pull your tailbone back. Maybe you take one arm out to the side and kind of gauge how that feels with your core strength. I will warn you, you need a little bend in the legs. Both arms is significantly spicier, but just for a moment maybe, and then lift yourself all the way up. Stretch long through your spine. And bring your hands down to your heart. And we'll take that lunge on the other side, so you'll take your right leg back. And then as you lift your arms up, just find them in a comfortable place. They can be really wide. They don't have to be the highest and longest arms you've ever had, because we're going to focus on the legs. Pushing that back leg back, making sure that you're pulling that left hip down and back. And then those two strong legs are going to give space for your spine to lift up. And most of the energy is down in the legs. Ooh. One more breath in. Exhale, take the hands down, step both feet forward. Wiggle your feet a little bit wider than your hips, definitely, and then bend into your knees, sit your hips back. If you have a squat practice where you really like to be down here, you can be down here. Go for it. Make sure you do the little witchy dance in your feet. If your knees and your hips are like, I would prefer not today, you can just be here with me. We're just going to take one more breath in. One more breath out. And then you're going to need to probably lift your heels from the squat to bring yourself back to straight or legs. Not completely straight, probably straighter legs. And then wiggle your feet back to that hip width distance apart. Put a little bend in your knees just so that they're soft. Bring your fingertips to your shins, lift your chest up. You can play with maybe a little beat, one arm and the other. Make sure you're picking your belly up. You might try both arms out and then lift both arms up. Take a really big inhale. And then let your hands come down to your heart. Take another breath in. Lift your arms up. Your exhale, fold down. Bend your knees enough that you can plant your hands down and then walk your feet back, finding downward facing dog. One more exhale. And then gently lower your knees down. Widen your knees, step back to child's pose. Crawl your fingertips out, let your spine be long. Maybe let your hips shift side to side and your forehead massage into the floor. Start to walk your hands back in. We're going to lift ourselves up. Come onto your hands and knees, and I'm going to face towards you just because I think I can explain this easier that way. You're going to take your right foot and you're going to bring it outside of your right hand. You're going to come back to this lizard's face, and then go ahead and let yourself soften in. So you're just going to let yourself round down. And if you've got a lot of energy, keep pushing down into your foot, keeping that kind of strength. If you need to relax a little bit, you can relax a little bit because I'll ask you to push down more in that foot in just a moment. Take 2 more long, deep breaths. Then start to come back up onto your fingertips. So I've got kind of longer arms here. I'm going to take my right arm underneath my left arm. I'm going to take my left arm underneath my right leg. I'm going to take my left arm wider. So both arms are pretty wide here. Okay. So this is either a perched flying lizard that may or may not be lifting up at all, or you can try to take maybe one arm off the ground. Maybe both hands. Come up. Now here's the thing. You're going to start falling over that way unless you push this foot down and squeeze your knee into your armpit and pull your hip back. Now on your knee, that's plenty spicy. If you wanted it to be spicier, lift the back leg up. Try some of that business. It's a very short visit. If anything, it is definitely a big dip, deep hip thing. A big dip hip thing. Okay. And then when you feel like you've had enough, you're quite right, go ahead and unpeel your arms. Take that right arm up, and a big twist, up and open, softening your belly. One more exhale. Good. And take your hands down. And go ahead and switch legs. So you're going to take your right leg back and then bring your left foot forward outside of your left arm. And we start by softening inwards, just finding some of that softness, some of that ease that might allow you to stretch out through your hip a little bit more. One more exhale. And then start to come back up to long arms. If you wanted to stay down like that and not bother with any of this stuff, of course you always can, but maybe you take your arm underneath that leg, make them wider, and play with that space. Maybe play with one or both arms lifting. If you're going to lift the back leg, you have to really pin the arm and the leg in towards each other. That might be just for beats that you hold. Nice. When you feel like you've had enough, you can start to land your flight whenever you're ready. If you're loving it, love it, hang out there. When you're ready to unwind your arms and come out of that flight, you'll just peel that left arm up to the sky as you draw that left hip down and back. One more exhale. And take your hands down, draw your leg back in, and then you're going to send both legs out in front of you. Take your right leg and tuck it in towards your chest. Cross it over your body if that feels good to you. Lift your left toes so it helps you to lift your spine. Hook your elbow, take your right arm behind you, lift through your spine and twist, softening your belly. One more exhale. Relax your twist, unwind your legs and tuck the other one in. Crossing over if that feels good to you. Hug your elbow around the thigh, around the knee. Lift your spine, lift your right toes. Soften your belly. One more breath. Release your twist, unwind your legs. And then you're gonna take your feet together, your knees out fairly wide. Try to find a slightly longer stance. If this feels not good in your thighs, bringing your feet a little bit closer might feel better, but try for a longer space and maybe just try to go forward without as much depth. In fact, don't go for very much depth to start off with here. Go for something that feels like a little bit of sensation, but definitely not your max. And hang out in that space for a little while. Just practicing that whole insert time phenomena. After you've spent a couple of breaths in that space, see what kind of other space there might be for you to move into. Even if it's not actually moving the pose that you're in, perhaps there is an extra sort of way that you can soften or something that you can offer yourself while you're spending time in this shape. One more breath in. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself up gently and slowly off of your legs. Take your time. Once you get here, extend your legs out. I've got about my hip width in between my feet, maybe a little bit longer. Take your arms behind you, lift your chest up, and then use your hands to lift yourself up into whatever is like a good long spine and kind of so we're sort of working towards the fold but not really folding yet. Arms are there for support, not for a gun show at this point. Just feeling the body lift, putting little, if any, energy into really being here. Now, if you like the arms propped behind and you want to kind of walk yourself in further forward, you can do that. If you'd like to take your arms out in front of you and soften into a fold, or not be very far into a fold, go to a place where you might have a little bit of room to soften in. And let your exhales give you more change. I don't know, maybe it doesn't create more space. Maybe it just changes something about the way that you are here. Every little bit of time making some impact. One more breath in. Find something to relax as you breathe out. And start to come back up onto your hands and knees. And you're gonna kind of shift yourself back. Come onto your forearms. Wiggle the tailbone so it points down. Push into your arms, lift your chest up. You can let your head fall back a bit if that feels good to you, or just kind of keep it up on your spine. Actively reaching the elbows down, feeling your chest lift up. And as you exhale, let your heart soften. You're going to walk yourself back up onto your hands. Come up to a seat. If you like to sit on anything, sit on something. If you want to lean against a wall, you could even lay down for this part. We're just going to do a little bit of pranayama together. So I'm going to grab my little couch cushion and sit up on it. So we'll take a couple of breaths, and then the idea with this is that we want to find the pause in between things, so that we have like the full inhale and there's a little bit of a pause at the top, and then the full exhale and a little bit of pause at the bottom, because it's in those little in-between points that things really start to shift. And we're always in that flux, we're always in that movement. So to say at any one point like, oh, this is the way it is denying like all of the ways in which things continue to change. It's not really a good svadhyaya or self-study. Self-study is being good with all of these places, not just like this one. Yeah. Okay, so take a nice big breath in and let it out. And then breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. Then breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause at the bottom. Then breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Then breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Breathing out for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Breathing in for 4, 3, pause. Breathing out for 4, 3, pause. Breathing in for 4, 3, pause. And breathing out for 4, 3, pause. And breathing in and continuing on your own. Just a few more breaths. You can adjust the timing a bit. Count to yourself, whatever helps. See what comes up in the pauses, in the breaths, in the space in between when you insert a little time. Finish up another round of breath. gently bring yourself down to laying on your back. If you've got anything around you, you can shift it to your side. Just come on down with your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Let your arms splay out behind you. Knees bent, feet on the floor. As you lift your toes to your shins, let your knees roll over to the right in that position where your left knee is reaching away from you, not coming to the floor, and you're stretching out the front of your thigh and your hip. Just take another breath in and another breath out. And bring your knees back to the center and roll them over on the other side. Again, right thigh stretching away from you, relaxing your quad and the front of your hip. Try to relax your right shoulder. Just one more round of breath. And then back to the center. Bring your knees in, gather them in for a hug. Let your arms open up as your knees roll both of them over towards the right, finding a little bit more of a closed off twist. So this one relaxing the outer hips rather than the fronts of the hips. Just whatever level of rotation feels good to you. One more breath out. And legs over towards the other side, just finding a similar feeling twist in the other direction. Let things soften. Give them space to let go. One more breath out. And when you come back to your back, setting the feet down and letting the knees fall against each other. You might take a hand to your belly and your heart for a moment, or maybe you're already just settled to let your arms drop down by your sides. If there's anything you need at the end of your practice, go ahead and find it. You can have legs slid out or knees bent as you were, taking a seated meditation, legs up the wall, anything that makes your body feel good. If that breath practice was helpful to you with the pauses at the top and the bottom, you can do that as well. We're settling in for a few minutes of rest before we wrap up together. Deepen your breath. Coming back into the room, back into your body. You make some small movements in your fingers and your hands that gently make you back up. A good morning stretch can feel good even if it's pretty late at night for you. Rolling over to one side. In gratitude for coming to your practice. Taking your time coming up to find your own version of a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your heart. We'll seal the practice, releasing an Om together. Bowing down to the love, the light, and the darkness that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. This little nugget. Have great days, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.